Okay, here is a Hanway Scrambler 250, Chinese bike with a British brand. It might come as a surprise, but it is a Scrambler type bike with 250cc engine, 4 strokes, a bigger version of Scrambler 125. It's so new, you can hardly find any info or even a manual of it on the internet. Even the dealership I got it from did not include manual with it. So if you are considering buying it, I'll try to include everything you need to know about it. This bike with its bigger engine delivers slightly better performance than 125 version, with 20 horsepower and torque of 18 Newton meters, and top speed of 120 km per hour or 72 miles per hour. This means it can accelerate fast and handle off-road and twisty roads well, but when leaning in corners it has tight limits. You will find yourself touching the ground with your feet in hard corners. So if you go into the corners at high speed, your lean might not be enough to make it out of it. This engine consumes 3-4 liters per 100 kilometers and it has 13-liter tank, officially, but not really. As I have tested, it has at most 12 and it's recommended to put in minimum of 19 octane gas, so pricier gas. But it's just a recommendation, you can put whatever you want in it. So with a full tank it will take you approximately 300 kilometers. One thing about the gas tank, it might be the case with this particular motorcycle, but still, the fuel cap does not seal properly, so if you overfill it or drop the bike, it leaks. I was told it was the case with some motorcycles, but let's say you crash and slide. It creates sparks and your fuel starts leaking and the next thing you know you are flammable. This motorcycle is targeted to new bikers. It's small in size, so you can plant both feet into the ground even if you are a shorter rider. It's cheap. It costs roughly 2000 USD, extending the side stand turns of the engine, which is good. Because before you form a habit for it, you might leave it extended so much, the crash might be inevitable. It's lightweight, it has a dry weight of 114 kilograms, so it's easy to drag around or pick it up if you drop it. And it's really aesthetic, with its retro classic off-road look. And this off-road look is not just for looks, it can handle off-road really well. For that case it has knobby tires, high clearance and inverted fork, which makes it more responsive and better off-road capable. This characteristic is good for newer riders as it will help you decide which one is yours, on or off-road. But as good as front is, as bad rear suspension is, you will feel every little detail of the road. It's just plain offending your bottom. So you should not be surprised to hear that it's extremely uncomfortable for long distance and extended periods of travels. So if you plan to use it for road trips and traveling, it's not the best choice. It does not even have enough space for a passenger, let alone luggage or luggage holders. You might still manage something as I have, but it's better to buy a bike that has a luggage space for that matter. The bike is pretty minimalistic. It only has essentials for a motorcycle: 2 wheels and a non-fuel injected engine, meaning you have to use fuel pump to start the cool engine. No assistance systems like traction control or ABS. That means you can do this and this. The dashboard is simple too. It's digital and it shows RPM, speed, mileage, fuel and battery levels. Light indicator for high beam light, which is pretty strong. LED head and rear lights are always on when the ignition switch is open, even when the engine is off, working on 12 volt 6Ah battery. Turn indicators and neutral, which sometimes is falsely on, which is the common problem for motorcycles and not just this model. Unfortunately, it does not have oil indicator, so you have to manually examine oil level and change or add accordingly. An oil indicator is also good for telling you when the engine is overheating. As this bike tends to easily overheat, you have to deduct it yourself and be careful not to run your engine on high RPM for extended periods of time and in hot weather. This means don't go full speed for extended periods of time. It's highly unlikely you will, as it vibrates so badly at high RPM you will want to jump off of it. Also, always adjust the gas screw on the carburetor according to engine temperature. Turn it left to decrease and right to increase RPM. Idle RPM should be between 1200 and 1500, 2 bars on dashboard. This is necessary as high idle RPM also contributes to overheating engine. An overheating engine often will ruin it. So when suspecting overheating, burning smell from engine, hard to shift or bumpy shifting, loss of power, stop the bike, turn the engine off and let it rest for about 15 minutes. Be sure to not park it under the sun and always lock the wheel when leaving the bike, as it's easy for someone to hop on it and roll away. You can also leave it in parking mode, which should leave the headlights on, but it does nothing. And lastly, always change oil every 300 kilometers for the first 1500 kilometers, every 1500 kilometers. You actually would be better off by changing oil yourself. It only takes a wrench to do that, and it's included in the bike tool bag. Oil recommendation for this model is SAE 10W40 4-stroke. It holds a little less than a liter, so when changing it, don't pour full 1 liter bottle oil into it. Put 900 milliliters first and then add in case it's not enough. It's better to do it this way than to run engine with extra oil.